treat for you this afternoon. Longtime friend of mine, Spin Broom, is here with us. He called me, it's been a couple weeks ago, or messaged me. Said he had something he wanted to present to us. And I thought whatever it is going to be good. Brother Broom comes from a family of preachers and is himself a great preacher, is in my opinion an even better song leader, outstanding song leader, and a good friend. I appreciate him so much. I want you to give him your undivided attention. I told him he had 15 minutes. We have a men's meeting today. He has a primetime spot, so here you go, brother.
That's preacher talk, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Good. You know, Patrick said we're great friends, and that's true. Patrick likes me a whole lot, and I like him. But Regina has another problem. I don't know that she really likes me. And that's because I introduced the two, and they got married years ago. So I think she holds it against me. I'm not real sure. But it is a privilege to be with you. Many of you I've known for years and years. I've sang with many of you at funerals and other places. And it's just good to be here at Rica. I love your auditorium. First time I've been in this auditorium. It's great. That didn't count. Okay. All right, good deal. Mark chapter 16, verse 15, the Bible says, "And he said unto them, Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature." Brothers and sisters, that is our obligation to do as Christians. That is our responsibility as a Christian to do. Go into all the world. But, brothers and sisters, let me tell you something. That is our privilege. Yeah. When you think about it, responsibility, obligation, yeah, that sounds kind of serious. It is serious. But that is our privilege. You see, the God of creation that created all mankind has given us the opportunity to be able to take His message personally to the lost and dying world. That ought to excite us. And today I want to talk to you about getting excited about taking the message of Jesus Christ to the lost and the dying world. And I want to give you a means by which would make it easier to do. Some people say, well, it's kind of hard to do. I don't know how to do home Bible studies. I don't know how to do that, door knocking or whatever. That scares me. We're going to show you a method in which it can work for you and make it easy for you. Short-term mission trips. I work with Latin American Missions out of Valdosta, Georgia. Latin American Missions is a work of the Forest Park Church in Valdosta. That's all it is. And we have a program called Yes To, Young People. That stands for Young Evangelistic Service. You see, every year in Valdosta we have a youth rally the last weekend in February. And we've been doing it for about 39 years with attendances of about 1,000 people. And that youth rally, the Elders decided we want to take the concept of working with young people and put it into the mission work that we've been doing for many, many years in Latin America. And so we took Yes Weekend and changed it just a little bit as far as the name goes, and we made Yes To, which stands for Young Evangelistic Service. And what we do is we take young people and their adult leaders into Central America for an on-the-job training program. You know, many times our young people that grew up in the Lord's church, they do not know how to conduct a home Bible study or maybe even to teach a vacation Bible school classes. And it might be because many of our adults today don't know how to do it. And so they haven't trained their kids. Well, we're taking that concept and we are going to take young people like you. We're going to take them into Central America with preachers, elders, deacons, Bible class teachers, daddies, mamas, elders' wives, deacons' wives, preachers' wives. And we're going to train our young people how to teach home Bible studies while we're teaching the lost of Latin America. Let me explain Yes To like this. This young man from Louisiana came on a mission trip with us. And when he went home, he said, Mama, I want to go to preacher school. I want to learn to be a gospel preacher. And Mama says, what happened on that mission trip? She says, I'm going with you next year. So the next year, Mama and son goes on the mission trip. And then he enters Memphis School of Preaching, where he has just completed his work. And And he's graduated and is now a gospel preacher because he learned how to do it. But mama and son goes on a mission trip. A family decides that they don't want to go on a family vacation this year. They want to go on a mission trip. And a youth group decides that they want to go on a mission trip this year. And so they all get together. They work through us. We get all of the things, their airfare, their hotels. We get all the stuff done for them so that they can come into country. When they land in country, they are formed a team. They work together as a team, and they're coming from all over the southeast congregations. They work together as a team with qualified gospel preachers and elders and deacons and Bible class teachers and daddies, and they work with mamas, elders' wives, preachers' wives, and young ladies are learning to teach vacation Bible school classes, and we're teaching our young people how to teach home Bible studies as they go house to house. They learn to preach the gospel and teach from house to house. The teams are divided into in small groups, usually 5 or 6, and it's the team leader, it's a translator, it's a female in every group. Why would we want a female in every group? Because they're very important to us. You see, when you go to somebody's home and the husband is out working and mama is at home with a young baby by herself, she doesn't want you to go in on her. We don't want to go in on her. But if we have one of our young ladies that's with us, she feels comfortable, we feel comfortable, we go in, we sit down, and we're studying together. So a team's made up of the teacher, the translator, a female, and then usually 1 or 2 other young people that's working with us going house to house, teaching the gospel. Now, what they're doing is, we take a preacher like Patrick will go with us. That's a hint. We take a preacher like Patrick, and he's going with us this year, we hope, and he's going to take one of the young people with him on his door knocking. And as he's teaching the lost of that household, he's also training that young man and that young woman how to teach that class. And he tells them, he said, now, you saw what I did today? Here's a piece of paper. I want you to follow this. And tomorrow I want you to teach Bible authority. And so they give them that material, they start studying it, and they teach Bible authority. The next day they give it back to the preacher, the teacher. And then after a day or so, he says, now I want you to teach the one church. And then they teach it. And they just keep doing this over and over, repetition, until they learn how to teach the whole class. We have young people that can do that. This young man is from Tupelo, Mississippi, a deacon's son. We came back in from door knocking one day, and his dad said, would you look at that? And I said, what? He said, look at Ben. I said, what about it? He's over there teaching. I said, yes, so what? He said, he's never taught a Bible class in his entire life. And I walked over there close enough to Ben, and Ben had a translator with him, and he had these 2 young boys that's not in the picture there, but he was teaching them. And I realized what Ben was teaching. He was teaching them what he had done to become a Christian. And I said, Ben, would you teach the teenage Bible class this afternoon? Mr. Ben, I don't know how to do that. I said, look, you have the class right here on the front of the church building, this road, and I'm going to sit right here, Ben. And if you have any problems, I'm going to help you through it. I said, just teach them what you did to become a Christian. Well, I can do that. And so that's what he started out doing. Years have passed. Ben now is leading his own evangelism team with an adult leader. He's helping them. And they're on the corner of a street. And he's standing right there on the street corner, and he's teaching a complete home Bible study all by himself, because he's been given the proper training to do so. These young people are given opportunities as they go house to house to teach the gospel. You know, one night we had a man that came forward, and in Central America, some of you know this, but in Central America, they extend the invitation differently than we do. When we extend the invitation, we say, if anybody's subject to the invitation, you'll come to the front. While together, we all stand and sing, and somebody will walk to the front, right? We do that. Down there, they finish their song, and then they get up and talk again, and they say, if anybody would like to respond, just remain standing, everybody else sit down. And so they go back in, they start talking to the different ones, and they say, this man's name is Patrick Gray, and he wants to study more about the Bible. Who would study with Patrick? It's amazing. It's amazing whose hands go up first. Because all the teenager boys' hands go up really quick. They go up fast. We'll do it. And they go in the back room and they start to study. And they complete that study tonight and they set up the study for tomorrow. Young people are excited. They're energized. They're ready to go to work, and they do a fabulous job at doing it. Working house to house. We have ladies' Bible classes. You know, when the mamas bring the children to the VBS classes, mamas are standing around watching. Well, we have ladies that will come together and help to teach these women while their children are in VBS classes, and our young people are learning how to do it. Our VBS classes, sometimes we're allowed to go in public school. Sometimes we have classes in the church building. But we take our young ladies to these VBS classes where they can help and participate in the classes and help out with the teaching and conducting the lessons. Just going to run through it pretty quick. The kids are very excited about it when we come because they get to have things in their lessons that they normally would not get to have, like when they studied the story of Noah's Ark. One of the days I was in Bocas, Panama, and Bocas, Panama is like living on the mountain up in North Georgia where the hills are like this. And as you can see now, I'm really fit and trim, and I can run up and down those. Yeah, right. I was puffing and blowing because those hills were so steep. And so I got to the place that I was going to door knock that day, and it took me 2 hours to get there. And I was about to die. And so finished the lesson. I finished the lesson. And when I got about halfway back, I said, guys, I got to sit down. And so I sat down under some bamboo. And I was trying to catch my breath. And then all of a sudden, topping the hill were two little kids about 5 to 8 years old. They had their mask on, and in Spanish, they were singing, Jesus loves me, this I know. Folks, I didn't have a problem getting myself up. I got myself up, and I went back to camp. It took me another hour to get there, but I got there because I was excited to know that those mamas had sent those two little boys all by themselves for a 2-hour walk to Vacation Bible School just to hear about Jesus Christ. And they came back and they were so excited. They were singing all the way home. Can't wait to get home and tell Mama about what I just learned at Vacation Bible School class. It was so exciting that I didn't have a problem doing it. We have teenage classes at night where we bring all our young people together, Spanish and English, and we teach them lessons in English and have it translated so we can discuss some of the topics that might have come up during the daytime in their home Bible study so they can understand how to answer the questions even better than they might have just in the door knocking. One day, we came back in for lunch a little early, and lunch wasn't ready. And the kids were kind of getting rambunctious with me, wanting to, do something. And I said, well, look, you see that those boys across the field right there? You see, go over there and ask the boys if they would like to have a game of basketball going. And they looked at me, they said, Mr. Speed, you told us we couldn't play on this trip. This was a working trip. I know. But I want you to go over there and get a game of basketball going with us. And so they said, okay. But I said, there's one thing I want you to do. When you play basketball with them, I want you to invite them to the 2 o'clock teenage Bible class. Folks, this is what showed up on the boys' side. The girls is another building. This is what showed up. Now, you can't see it in the picture very well, but if you look real close, you can see their ink pens, you can see their paper, you can see their Bibles. They came prepared to study the Bible with us. Now, this is in the rainforest of Panama. The temperature is blazing hot, and the humidity is so high that you're just dripping. You can see the air conditioning in the windows, right? And you can see the nice padded pews with backs on them that they're sitting in. 2 hours every day, just like that. Those boys kept coming back day after day after day. And out of that group right there, 6 people were baptized in Christ. All because a bunch of young people just like you guys went across the field and said, let's play some basketball. Hey, would you like to come to the teenage Bible class this afternoon? It's exciting what young people will do. And many are being baptized into Christ because of this work that young people are getting involved in. This 96-year-old man was baptized into Christ in Panama 2 years ago, after his son, who was 70 years old, told his daddy to come and listen to the preacher. The young people get very excited about the work. And they came into the country individually. They came in by families. They came in by youth groups. They made a team when they got into the country. But after they worked together all week long, they become a family. They talk to each other on Facebook and Instagram and all these things. They continuously are working together, trying to meet at different youth activities so they can spend time together, because they're now a family. Some of their best friends that they'll ever meet are right in that group. They have a team meeting every day where we go over the numbers of what took place yesterday. And we also give time for devotional where our young people are given opportunities to speak, lead singing, say prayers, do devotional talks. They ride buses back and forth from the hotel to the work site, and they're singing most of the time, going back and forth. Or they're getting to know each other, and they're bonding. They're out of these groups in the last 7 years I've been working, there's already been 3 marriages, and I'm conducting one more in May. Young people, meeting faithful Christian young people from other congregations, and they're getting married with mission work as their primary goal. It's amazing. They find friendships and bond together, and they're really excited about it. One of the nights when we were there, the next day we were going on a tour day. And they said, Mr. Spinn, we want to go door knocking another day. We want to stay in this country longer. I said, well, I have to take you back to Mama, or Mama's going to get mad at me. You've got to go home. But Mr. Spinn, we want to stay. But I know that Mama's going to get mad at me if I don't take you home. But Mr. Spinn, you remember last night? You remember last night at the gospel meeting? You remember that family that came in and sat on the second row right there, Mr. Spinn? Yeah, I remember them. Mr. Spinn, we have been studying with that family all week long. We went every day to their house, and that was the first time that they had come. Mr. Spinn, we want to go back and we want to finish teaching them. Well, I know you do, but I've got to take you home to Mama. Did you leave the name, address, and phone number and email and all that with the preacher? Yes, sir, we did that. Well, he will take care of it. He will follow up. But Mr. Spinn, you don't understand. We want to do it. And tears are coming to their eyes. We want to do it. We don't want to go home. We want to continue working because they're this close, Mr. Spinn. They're this close to being becoming Christians. Folks, that's exciting to me. You know, when they come into country, I ask them several questions. And one of the questions I ask is, what's your expectation of yes to? And if there's 50 people there, I'm going to get 50 different answers. But on the last night, at the banquet, we give a microphone and let them talk, one at a time. What's the worst thing about yes to mission trip? And that's what I get. Can you see her eyes? You can't in this room. It's a little bit bright in here. But she's crying. The worst thing about the yes to mission trip, Mr. Spinn, is going home. Mr. Spinn, we don't want to go home. We want to stay. We want to keep working. You see, it changes the lives of these young people. It changes the lives of these adult leaders. It causes them to want to take the message of Jesus Christ as a privilege to the lost and dying world. That's what this does. In 2015, 609 Bible studies, 23 baptisms, and 7 restorations. 2016, 913 Bible studies, 31 baptisms, 5 restorations. In 7 years, 141 baptisms and 58 restorations. Folks, that is working with a bunch of young people and their adult leaders. Don't ever, ever tell me that you can't do something with a bunch of young people. Because I'll take them any day of the week with me on mission trip. Because they're fabulous to work with. Because they're exciting to work with. Because they have the energy to do it. They do a fabulous job. We need to train our young people to teach the message of Jesus Christ. Will you answer the call is the question tonight. This is kind of a short, different type of lesson, but we're commanded to go into all the world and preach the gospel. Will you answer the call? You know, the world is lost in sin, and the answer is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it has been placed in your hand and my hand. We have the responsibility. We have the obligation. But folks, we have the privilege of taking this message to the lost and dying world. The question is, will you answer the question and go the call and come and go with us on a mission trip? Today I'm going to have some brochures in the foyer. I'd love to talk to you about coming and going with me on a mission trip. If you're subject in any way to the Lord's invitation, we invite you to come while the